Hi, it's Kelly from Maid In Business. Today we are going to talk about staying legal and the paperwork you need to keep for your business. You knew we were going to have to talk about this sometime, right? So record keeping and paperwork are very important factors to your business. Not only for making sure that it's running well and that it's a profitable business, but also to make sure that your business is legal and stays above board. The type of records that you will need to keep will depend on the legal structure that you set your business up in. Down below there is a link for a post I've written on my website, maidinbusiness.com, which goes over each legal structure individually and gives you the pros and cons for each, so that you'll be able to weigh up what will best suit your business legally and financially when starting out. But first, let's have a quick review. So one of the first things that we need to talk about is things that every business must have. Very important. Okay, so every business must register in the correct way, and we will go over some of those briefly for the different ways of sole trade and limited company. You must be fully insured for all business activities that you do and for any staff that you may employ. You may also want to look at things like personal indemnity insurance to protect your reputation and also your brand. I would advise speaking to an insurance broker to get the right packages to suit you and your business to make sure that you are legally covered. You need a bank account. Now, why this is not a prerequisite of a self-employed business, I would strongly advise that you have a separate business account and keep your business and personal finances separate at all times to avoid any confusion of a later date. You need basic bookkeeping. Again, sole traders are not required to submit accounts, but you do need to keep them, because if you don't have accounts, then you will not know whether you are making money, breaking even, or trading at a loss. You need to be VAT registered when your business hits an annual turnover of £79,000, that's correct, of 2013, in any one going year. If you have employees in your business, you must also register as an employer. This is regardless of whether you are a sole trader, a partnership, or a limited company, as you will have to subscribe to the PAYE scheme, making sure that you take national insurance and tax deductions from your employees. You will also be required to submit end of year financial reports on your business of who you've paid, what you've paid, and deductions that you've taken and so forth. Okay, so let's briefly go over the legal structures of a business for those that have not yet read the post. So first up is sole trader. So a sole trader is a business that is owned and operated by an individual who is completely responsible for it. There are no formal paperwork that you have to complete, but you must register with the HMRC either by telephone or online to let them know that you're starting a business. You'll then be enrolled into the self-assessment scheme, which you must complete every year, along with paying your contribution class 2 national insurance. You can be an employer as a sole trader, and you would have to register as one through the HMRC, where you would receive a reference code and would then subscribe to the PAYE scheme for all your employees to deduct their tax and their national insurance. You're also required to submit paperwork on an annual basis with all the reports on your payroll figures. Okay, next up is partnerships. This is a business that is owned by 2 or more individuals. Again, this is not required to be set up with formal paperwork, but is required that you register with the HMRC. Both partners, or 3, 4 people, however many people are involved, are all responsibly individually for their self-assessment and also their national insurance contributions. They again can become employers, and they can again become subject to VAT if the turnover of the business goes over £79,000 within any one 12-month period. One of the things that it's worth mentioning about sole traders and also partnerships is that they are fully liable for the business. The business and the individual are one and the same. Any debts that you accrue, any borrowings that you accrue under the business name is your name. You owe it. When they credit check a business, they are credit checking you essentially. Okay, so last up is a limited company. So a limited company can also be extended to a limited liability partnership. So what this basically means is that the business is an individual in the eyes of the law in its own right. So a business to become limited must be incorporated and must go through several statutory requirements in order to do so. A limited company is responsible by law for submitting accounts to Companies House and also annual returns by set dates every year. A limited company will also be subject to corporation tax. A limited business is also an employer and responsible for the VAT levels and has all the same responsibilities that you would in a partnership and a sole trader. The only difference being is the extra paperwork that's included, and also the directors or the founders of the business are protected by the limited liability that the company. Okay, we are going to do a separate post about employees and the paperwork needed for when you do have members of staff, because it's different and we need to make sure that we get that right. But in the meantime, here's some real quick top tip for organising your account paperwork. You will need one binder, some plastic pockets and some sticky labels. So basically this is one of my personal folders. In the front you have your paying-in book, you have your checkbook, the little calculator doobry what's it that you get from the banks, so you know where it is at all times. And then ongoing you have the month and the year, and then you put all of your receipts and all paperwork for that month inside the folder, which allows you to keep on top of your bookkeeping as you go and also keeps everything in one little neat compact space. As a new business with no budget, you really don't need to be spending money on filing cabinets or really big fancy systems. As a point of note, the HMRC now allowed you to scan in documents so that you don't even need to physically keep them. The rules are that they need to be scanned on both sides, and they need to be filed in certain ways, but I will leave you a link below that will go through all of the technicalities of that so that you can make sure that you can look into that also. One of the things that you need to think about with your bookkeeping is how are you going to do it? Are you going to keep simple spreadsheets? Are you going to invest in a bookkeeping software? Did you get one free with your banking? They often throw that in. Or you can look at some accounting things that are within the cloud. Me personally, I use a really fantastic system called Cashflow, and I will leave you a link below along with some other cloud-based account systems. It is worth you looking into some of these cloud-based packages because some of them are very technically brilliant and do not require you to be technically brilliant in return. They have great APIs which link into things like MailChimp, CRM systems, payroll systems, e-commerce systems. They're very fabulous and can save you a lot of time and keep it all in one place. And also, if your system ever dies or crashes or collapses, which has happened to me when my system got corrupted, it's very painful. It costs a lot of money. Filming about paperwork, Gerard. You spoiled boy. So thank you for watching General Business Chat, where we have spoken all about staying legal and keeping your paperwork organised. If you've got any top tips of how you keep your paperwork organised, please put them in the comments below, as you never know, your words of wisdom just might help out somebody else. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit all the links below to come and connect with me on social media, and I'll also be putting up a slide at the end that will have links for additional homework of reading up, links also below. See you here on Thursday, where we will be talking about sales and marketing, what is the differences between both, and how we get a strategy and a plan for both to put them into our business in order to make more money. See you Thursday. Until then, bye bye.